What happens when the savannah's greatest hunter faces a 2,000-pound giant? It seems like an unfair fight, but survival here isn't as simple as it looks. Lions aren't the only stars of this wild show. In fact, without the plant-eaters, like the mighty Cape buffalo and the tireless wildebeest, the savannah's balance would collapse. Today, we're going to cross the African plains, follow the herds on their relentless journey, and witness the decisive moment, the crossing of the dreaded Mara River. Here, every step could be their last. Are you ready to face this journey? Across the golden vastness of the African savanna, a display of strength and strategy unfolds without rest. The Cape buffalo, magnificent and resilient, doesn't survive alone. It's part of a walking fortress. Like a wild tide, the herds follow ancient trails, always alert to the slightest sound, the slightest movement in the tall grass. Here, distraction isn't a luxury. It's a death sentence. Together, they form a shield of muscle and horn against predators. But can even this living wall stop the hunting lions and the Nile crocodiles? The herd's protective instinct isn't just about their numbers. It's a dance choreographed by nature itself. In the center of the group, the young and weak find shelter, while the older buffaloes, scarred from past battles, stand guard like sentinels. But every crossing is a game of patience and resilience. The open fields are natural traps, the rivers, treacherous crossings where death lurks beneath the water. And when one of them strays from the group, the outcome is rarely merciful. Lions, the masters of ambush, never waste a chance. A lone Cape buffalo is an easy target, and they know it. Lions, the masters of ambush, never waste a chance. A lone Cape buffalo is an easy target, and they know it. With sharp eyes and carefully calculated moves, the predators test the herd's strength, waiting for a weak link to show itself. It could be an inexperienced calf, a wounded adult, or an old-timer who's starting to feel their age. Big cats have endless patience. And when they finally attack, the buffalo's fight is far from over, because other forces of nature are waiting their turn in the circle of life. In the murky river waters, the Nile crocodiles rule without mercy. Silent, motionless, they wait in the watery shadows. For the buffalo, thirst is as much an enemy as any predator. When thirst drives them to the riverbank, their fate can be sealed in seconds. One wrong step and the calm turns into a whirlwind of teeth and desperation. But buffalo have learned to read the signs. They know that shadows lurk in the water. Some have survived these monsters before, but will they all escape this deadly trap unharmed? The life of a Cape buffalo is a game of resistance and strategy, where every crossing is a calculated risk and every step could be their last. But despite the constant danger, these giants don't just survive, they shape the savanna. Their footprints churn the earth, their trails open pathways, their migrations spread life. But there's an even more dramatic journey happening. A tireless march driven by instinct and necessity. On the horizon, a new spectacle of life and death unfolds. The monumental exodus of the wildebeest across the vast plains of the Serengeti and Masai Mara. In the quiet darkness of the savannah, bright eyes pierce the shadows. The hunting lions are lying in wait. In the quiet darkness of the savannah, bright eyes pierce the shadows. The hunting lions are lying in wait. They aren't just big cats, they're natural strategists, masters of the art of pursuit. With precise movements, they analyze every detail of the Cape buffalo herd, looking for the one that can't keep up. They're not in a hurry. They know that to survive on the savannah, patience is their best friend. But what happens when the hunt begins? The ambush isn't random. The lionesses, the main hunters, take up strategic positions, while the males, when they participate, jump in at the right moment to make sure the prey doesn't get away. The attack isn't just a sprint, it's a display of precision and teamwork. The group surrounds the target, cutting it off from the safety of the herd. The young buffalo is getting desperate, but the lionesses have already blocked its escape route. What happens next isn't a fair fight. It's a brutal spectacle of nature. But victory isn't always guaranteed. The Cape buffalo isn't easy prey. With sharp horns and bodies that can weigh over 2,000 pounds, they know how to fight back. There have even been cases of lions crushed by powerful charges from these giant plant eaters. And if the herd spots the ambush in time, the predators might be forced to retreat. The tables turn, the hunter becomes the hunted. Wounded lions, humbled, driven away by an avalanche of horns and hooves. But not all predators rely on brute force. In the dark waters of African rivers, an even more treacherous enemy lies in wait. Nile crocodiles don't chase their prey, they wait. Still, motionless like logs, they lurk at the water's edge. When a buffalo lowers its head to drink, it's too late. The attack happens in the blink of an eye. Sharp teeth sink into flesh, and death comes in the form of a watery swirl, where the prey is spun and torn apart. But crocodiles don't just hunt buffalo. The entire savanna is a battlefield. Every animal plays its part in the great balance of Africa's ecosystem. Nile crocodiles don't chase their prey. They wait. Still motionless like logs, they lurk at the water's edge. When a buffalo lowers its head to drink, it's too late. The attack happens in the blink of an eye. Sharp teeth sink into the flesh, and death arrives in a swirling vortex of water where the prey is spun and torn apart. But crocodiles don't just hunt buffalo. The whole savanna is a battlefield. Every animal plays its part in the great balance of the African ecosystem. And while buffaloes fight for their lives against relentless predators, other plant-eaters face even more extreme challenges. There is one journey that defines the true meaning of the fight for survival: the wildebeest migration. Life on the African savanna offers no breaks, not even for newborns. When a Cape buffalo calf comes into the world, it doesn't have time to slowly adapt. Life on the African savanna offers no breaks, not even for newborns. When a Cape buffalo calf comes into the world, it doesn't have time to slowly adjust. Its wobbly legs need to support it in a matter of minutes, and its survival instinct is already being tested. The watchful mother observes everything around her. She knows African predators are always nearby, waiting for a moment of carelessness. But is simply standing up enough to guarantee survival? A calf's first steps are a race against time. Unlike other mammals, it can't afford to spend hours learning to walk. If it can't keep up with the herd quickly, it will be left behind. And in the savanna, being left behind means certain death. But Cape buffalo mothers don't let that happen so easily. They encourage their calves to stand up, nudge them gently with their noses, and when needed, even protect them with their own bodies. Protection isn't something one buffalo does alone. It's a job for the whole herd. The calves are kept safe right in the middle of the group, surrounded by grown-up females who would gladly fight a lion to protect one of their own. When a predator comes close, everything changes in a flash. The herd's protective instincts kick in, and dozens of buffalo create a living wall of horns and muscle. Even surrounded, a calf can be a target for the cleverest African predators. Lionesses know the secret to hunting isn't strength but strategy. They create distractions, isolate the young ones, and take advantage of any opening to attack. A single roar can spread panic and separate a helpless calf from the safety of the group. Nile crocodiles are masters of patience. For them, a calf that wanders close to the riverbank is an easy target, unable to fight back with its full strength. The attack is swift, relentless, but not every attack is successful. Often, desperate mothers brave the waters to save their young, and the force of an angry herd can even make a crocodile back down. But the struggle for life continues, because every calf that survives has a crucial role in Africa's ecosystem. And the presence of the Cape buffalo maintains the balance of the entire savanna. In the heart of the African savanna, where hunting lions stalk their prey and Nile crocodiles wait patiently, Cape buffaloes play a much bigger role than just running from predators. They are true engineers of the African ecosystem. With every step they take, they churn the soil, making room for new plants to grow. And where there are plants, there is life. But can simply grazing really transform an entire landscape? The impact of Cape buffalo goes far beyond what you can see at first glance. By removing tall plants, they allow younger, more nutritious grasses to grow, benefiting countless other plant eaters like zebras and wildebeests. This simple act of eating sets off a chain reaction that supports the entire food chain. Without buffaloes, the balance of the savanna would be threatened, and many other animals would suffer the consequences. But it's not just plant eaters that depend on Cape buffalo. For African predators, these giants are an essential food source. Lions, hyenas, and crocodiles rely on these herds to survive. It's a relentless cycle, where the death of one strengthens the life of another. But even the predators need the buffalo alive. If they disappeared, the hunters at the top of the food chain would collapse. Also, buffalo poop fertilizes the ground, helping to keep the plants healthy. This seemingly small detail makes all the difference for insects, birds, and even small mammals. The way animals work together in nature shows how every creature, no matter how small, plays an important part in how the wild works. But this balance is being threatened. Human intervention, habitat destruction, and illegal hunting are changing this delicate life cycle of the herbivores. Without these herds, the savanna could become a silent desert where only traces of the old biodiversity remain. And if the bottom of the food chain is destroyed, the entire Serengeti and Masai Mara could face irreversible consequences. But there is still a force of nature that insists on defying the impossible: the wildebeest migration. Imagine thousands, no, millions of animals on the move, a living tide of zebras and wildebeest crossing the vast plains of the Serengeti and Masai Mara. Every year, this epic journey repeats itself, driven by a primal instinct that overcomes any obstacle. Hunger, thirst, exhaustion. Nothing stops these herbivores from moving forward. But something even more frightening lurks nearby. African predators already know every step of this migration, and they are ready to attack. The wildebeest migration is one of the greatest natural spectacles on the planet, but it is also a true battlefield. Across almost 2,000 miles, the animals face extreme challenges. Hunting lions ambush the most vulnerable groups. Hyenas patrol the plains, waiting for an opportunity. And Nile crocodiles strategically position themselves in the rivers where they know their chances of catching prey increase. Every move these herbivores make could be their last. But it's not just the threat of predators that makes this journey so brutal. The savanna's climate itself becomes a relentless enemy. Sudden storms turn the ground into slippery mud, making it hard for the weakest to move forward. The dry season can dry up waterholes, leaving the animals desperate and vulnerable. For many, exhaustion and hunger are as deadly as a lion's claws. Even so, no wildebeest or zebra dares to stop. The reason for this seemingly crazy journey? Survival. The rains set the pace of the migration, leading these plant-eaters to chase the greenest, most nutritious pastures. Without this constant movement, not only would the wildebeest and zebras suffer, but the whole African ecosystem would collapse. Predators rely on these movements for food, and even the ground benefits from the constant movement of these huge herds. But the deadliest challenge is yet to come. To move forward to the new lands, these herbivores must face a life-or-death test, the crossing of the Mara River. And there, among the murky and treacherous waters, lurks one of the oldest and most feared predators on the continent. The Nile crocodiles don't need to run or hunt, they just wait. And when the first wildebeests jump into the river, the most dramatic spectacle of the entire migration begins. The moment arrives. The banks of the Mara River teem with the commotion of thousands of wildebeests and zebras. They know they need to cross, but they hesitate. Their instincts warn them of danger in the water, and for good reason. The Nile crocodiles, true prehistoric monsters, are hidden beneath the surface, patiently waiting for the chaos that's about to begin. But there's no choice. Hunger pangs, the need to move forward speaks louder, and then the first one jumps. In a matter of seconds, the river transforms into a true battlefield. Hundreds of wildebeest and zebras plunge into the rushing water. They struggle against the powerful current and against the unseen predators lurking below. The crocodiles spring into action, attacking with terrifying precision. With a lightning-fast strike, they drag their prey into the depths, while the others keep moving forward, as if their only option is to ignore the danger and press on. But Nile crocodiles aren't the only problem. The crossing itself is a cruel challenge. The current is strong, and many young animals get lost in the chaos. Some animals panic and trample their companions. Others get trapped between rocks, becoming easy targets for predators. The scene is brutal, a raw display of survival on the savannah. There's no justice, no mercy, just the relentless law of nature. Yet despite the horror, this crossing can't stop. Those who make it to the other side continue their journey, exhausted, injured, but alive. It's a moment of relief, but also of pain, as many were left behind. The Mara River holds the echoes of those who didn't make it, but for the survivors, there's no time to mourn. Life on the savannah doesn't allow for rest. And as the wildebeests and zebras move on, another savannah creature watches the scene from a different angle. Tall as living towers, giraffes witness the struggle for survival from a privileged point of view. They don't have to cross crocodile-infested rivers, but they have their own challenges to face, and their unique adaptations make them true miracles of evolution. On the golden horizon of the savannah, where the grass dances in the wind and the baobab trees stand like guardians of time, an unmistakable silhouette stands out. The giraffe, majestic and serene, moves with the elegance of one who sees the world from above. But this enviable height isn't just for admiring the scenery. Every inch of that elongated neck is an adaptation that ensures its survival in an ecosystem full of challenges. Reaching up to 20 feet tall, giraffes have a unique advantage. They can feed on leaves that are out of reach for most other plant eaters. While zebras and wildebeests compete for low-lying vegetation, they extend their rough, almost 2-foot-long tongues to pluck leaves from thorny acacia trees. This way they ensure their nutrition without getting into fights for food on the ground. But nature always balances advantages with challenges. Drinking water, for example, becomes a true test of vulnerability. To take a simple sip, the giraffe has to spread its legs and lower its head, leaving itself exposed to African predators. Hunting lions have learned that this is one of the rare moments when they can try to take down this giant. But anyone who thinks the giraffe is easy prey is very mistaken. A single kick can break a lion's skull. And if there's one thing a predator fears, it's prey that can fight back. Besides the strength in their legs, these creatures have developed a unique circulatory system. With a heart the size of a bucket and blood pressure that could make a human faint, giraffes defy gravity every time they raise or lower their heads. Without this mechanism, blood could pool in their lower limbs or not reach the brain, jeopardizing their survival. A true marvel of adaptation. But the most fascinating thing isn't just about individual giraffes, but rather the relationships they establish with other savanna animals. In an ecosystem where everything is interconnected, even the most unexpected interactions play an essential role. Like, for example, how some species help each other to increase their chances of survival. And it's in this setting that zebras and wildebeest show that in nature, cooperation can be the key to life. In the heart of the African savanna, a striped pattern mingles with the endless flow of hooves. Zebras and wildebeests walk side by side, creating one of the most impressive spectacles of the African ecosystem. But this coexistence isn't just a coincidence. There's a strategic reason behind this unlikely alliance. Together, these animals maximize their chances of survival, exploiting each other's strengths in a subtle game of cooperation. While zebras have sharp eyesight to spot African predators from a distance, wildebeests rely on an extremely sensitive sense of smell and hearing, able to pick up on threats before they become fatal. When one notices danger, the other reacts. This exchange of warnings transforms the migration of wildebeests and zebras into a truly integrated security system. After all, in an environment where hunting lions and Nile crocodiles lurk around every corner, vigilance can never falter. But the cooperation doesn't stop there. The secret of this symbiotic relationship also lies in how they eat. While zebras have teeth ideal for cutting tall, dry grasses, wildebeests prefer shorter, softer pastures. This division avoids direct competition and allows both to make better use of the savanna's resources. An efficient process that maintains nature's balance and ensures that the Mara River crossing continues every year. Besides safety and food sharing, there's another crucial detail. Zebras have an incredible memory for routes and safe locations, while wildebeest, guided by their instincts, feel the need to follow the reins in search of greener pastures. That's why zebras often lead the way in migration, while the wildebeest follow en masse, trusting in their guidance. A perfect example of how different skills can complement each other. And so as they cross the endless golden fields of the Serengeti and Masai Mara, zebras and wildebeest show that survival on the savannah isn't just about strength or speed, but also about smart partnerships. However, even this cooperation can't protect them from the biggest threat of all. Because, besides lions and crocodiles, there's an even more relentless predator, one that's forever changing the balance of African wildlife. In the heart of the Serengeti and Masai Mara, where wildlife follows its ancient rhythm, a silent threat grows every day. While African predators hunt and the herds follow their migratory cycles, a new challenge arises: the human presence. What was once an untouched paradise now faces constant pressures from deforestation, poaching, and climate change. Survival on the savannah has never been easy, but now animals are fighting an enemy that doesn't follow the rules of nature. The Cape buffalo, with its brute strength and herding instincts, no longer fears only lions and Nile crocodiles. Now it faces the loss of its habitat to farms and cattle ranches. Similarly, the wildebeest migration, one of Africa's most magnificent displays, is threatened by fences and roads cutting through their ancestral roots. Without space to roam, what was once nature's ancient dance may become a spectacle of the past. And it's not just the plant eaters who are suffering. Big predators like lions and cheetahs are seeing their prey disappear, forcing them closer to human areas in search of food. This leads to direct conflicts with farmers, who often react with violence. Nile crocodiles, rulers of African rivers, now face polluted waters and overfishing. Even the giants of the savannah, like giraffes, feel the impacts of human activity in their daily struggle for survival. But all is not lost. Thanks to conservation efforts, reserves and national parks have provided a refuge for African wildlife. Species reintroduction projects, population monitoring, and anti-poaching efforts help maintain the ecosystem's delicate balance. The role of local communities is also essential. Teaching them to coexist with wildlife may be the key to protecting these animals' future. However, the battle is far from over. The question remains, can we preserve this natural spectacle before it's too late? The answer depends on the actions we take now. Because, in the end, the savannah's survival isn't just in the hooves of the buffalo or the cunning of predators. It's in our hands. Now that you've seen how survival for savanna herbivores is a real struggle, I ask you, how can you apply this lesson to your everyday life? What can we learn about unity, resilience, and adaptation from these animals? Just like herds of buffalo protect each other, we also need to rely on each other to reach our goals. But the question remains, are we prepared for life's challenges? Don't forget, the journey for survival is never easy, but it's always stronger when we're together. If you enjoyed this content and want to understand more about wildlife and how it connects to our world, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Let's continue this journey of learning and connecting with nature together.